welcome to another edition of the Unsexy Businessmen podcast, where we talk about all things entrepreneurship and unsexy businesses. I am Alex Skinner. As always, I am joined by my brother, Aaron Skinner. Today, we are chatting about hiring people, more specifically, how to avoid hiring bad people. I just want to start off by telling y'all a little story. My worst hire ever. And I think you will all very quickly be able to be like, well, that was a huge mistake. That was the reason that you hired that person. So my very first time hiring as a manager, we didn't have, normally we hired internally at the place that that I worked at. So I looked externally, interviewed a bunch of different people. There was one person that I really, really liked. And then this other person was like, you interviewed well. And in the interview they interviewed well, the guy went over how hard life had been recently. They had some like additional costs, additional health and medical bills that had come up in their life. And so the reason that he was moving on from his company was primarily because he knew that he would be able to grow more at our company, which was true. Like he'd be able to make more money than he was making at the other agency that he was working for. So I had to make a decision between the two. And I went, you know what? This guy is motivated to solve his financial problems. So I'm going to give him a chance because he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure he can pay for those things. Whereas this other person is just, though I think they would be really, really great, there isn't that, oh, this is like, I'm at rock bottom. I need to solve this problem. The very first conversation he ever had with a client was giving them advice to use a strategy that had been outdated for 10 years and was considered a black hat tactic. It didn't work anymore. And I went, I've made a terrible mistake. So if you're wondering if I have had experience with hiring bad people, yes, I have. Thankfully, that dude literally like 2 weeks later quit. And then I was able to go and hire someone who was awesome, replaced him, and no harm, no foul. But Aaron, what was your worst hire ever besides the person who stole?
Well, that's the problem is there's been lots of bad hires. I would say the worst hire was just like in the beginning. I would just hire anyone, which is probably the number one mistake that you could make as an entrepreneur is once you start getting busy and you're like, I just got to get somebody in here, and you don't really do a good job of the vetting process, and your interview's just like, are you alive? Can you show up and do this thing? And then you just hire them. And so honestly, my worst hires were just the beginning when I was just constantly hiring. And then the turnover was horrible. And it made my life a living hell because I was constantly having to babysit all these people because I didn't have my SOP in place of how to hire correctly. So that was probably the worst phase of like hiring when I was growing my business. The worst hire, I mean, that's so hard because there's different. I mean, I had a lady that I swear I hired her, and I swear she only wanted the job so she could claim a workman's comp claim. And she worked for us for 2 weeks, claimed it. That cost a bunch of money. Obviously, the one that you mentioned, the lady that was stealing from people. And how did we catch her stealing? There was a camera in one of the offices and saw her. She was going through desks. And when I asked her about it, she said she was trying to find the Wi-Fi password was why she was going through people's desks. But everyone hides their Wi-Fi password in your desk. So I was like, well, that makes sense. Obviously, I'm not going to fire you because that's a great excuse. Now I fired her. But it's like just those types of things. But there was just so many. Like I probably hired hundreds of people throughout Honestly Clean, and I don't even know. I don't even know how. Maybe 20% of them, 30% of them were solid. I mean, you're always going to have your top 10, your bottom 10, your middle 80. I'm good at math. Obviously that's not
going to be a bell curve.
Yeah, that's what I got, a pyramid. Yeah, it's that. But I think we're going to talk about like practices of how you can find the right employees and all those types of things. But Yeah, that was the worst one was probably the one that was stealing. And unfortunately that happened more than once. You know, in the janitorial world, when you're hiring people, you're usually not hiring people that just got their PhD in molecular science. You're usually dealing with people that, you know, probably haven't made a lot of great life decisions. Luckily, we dealt a lot of our hires, to be completely fair, were like moms that wanted just some extra hours for money for, you know, vacations or for Christmas or whatever it was. So we did have a lot of really good employees. So I'm not trying to besmirch people that get into that. There are people that lived in nice houses, their husbands work, but they just wanted to have some extra, little extra income. So those were my favorite hires, were people that didn't really need the money, but they were solid people. But yeah, so
Yeah, and when you're making that first hire, I think you feeling a lot of urgency. Like, it feels like, "I
yes,
have to get this. I
yes,
am drowning. I need to get this done as quickly as possible." And you probably do the opposite of what is recommended, which is hire slow, fire fast.
yes.
I know I know I've been guilty of, like, hiring way too fast because and even at established companies who have been doing this for a really long time, they don't have the proper setup to make sure you have good people coming in. Like, I've hired definitely not maybe hundreds of people. I would hire about 10 to 12 people every 3 months for, like, internships at my
Mm,
previous company, so it actually
yeah.
might be, like, close to, like, the hundreds at this point. But what I found was that the more ahead of it I got, like, I know it's coming. I know, like, "Hey, we're gonna have to replace people." So, I was constantly interviewing all the time just to be prepared. Like, maybe we
Yes,
didn't need people at a given time, but I could hit
yes.
up someone who interviewed really well 6 months ago, 5 months ago. Maybe they were no longer available, maybe they had a job, but at least I was getting to know as many people as possible, so that urgency feeling like, "Oh, crap, we need someone right now." Is like, "Oh, I have, like, these 10 people in the bank.
Mhm.
I'll just go to those 10 first, see if they're still available." Odds are one of those 10 is probably going to be available, and almost without fail, every single time, like, "Oh, this person is available. Great. I've already vetted them. They're great. Here they come." So I think planning and making sure, like, because, like, this is the mistake I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs make, where it's just like, we probably hired for Keystone too early. We
Mhm.
didn't absolutely need the person, but every single time that we've made a hire since then, I'm happy that we do it where I'm just like, "Oh, we're not incredibly busy." Because then when you do become incredibly busy, it's like, "Oh, this person is now trained and now very good at doing what they need to do." Like, never hire, like it's like, I would just say, like, never hire to, like, try to
Put out a fire.
yeah, to, like, put out a fire, like, escape pain, if you will, because
Right.
that's going to be very problematic.
Well, don't hire to put out a fire. God, we're so good at that hasn't, like you were doing, like, hasn't been vetted already. That's the whole I do that's I was gonna say that always have someone in the pipeline or have like a list of people in the pipeline. When I had Honestly Clean and we had, you know, 60, 70 employees, we were doing interviews every week. And that wasn't because we were hiring right then, but just like you were saying, we wanted to have people. So when we got another building or we got, you know, several new buildings, we had people that we could then call that we'd already done the interview process. We've already done everything. We know who we want. Then we can offer them that position. And yeah, sometimes they weren't available. Most of the times they were. But the whole hiring process starts before you even do the interview anyway. Like my advice is when you're trying to hire somebody, you need to have it's not an advertisement. What is it? When you're trying to find people, what's that called? Soliciting.
I
When when you're trying to solicit people to come work for you, you want to have a very specific message of like how much you're paying, how many hours it is, exactly what they're going to be doing, requirements that they're going to need to have. And you're like, yeah, you're going to be standing all the time. You're going to maybe have to lift 20, 30, be able to lift 20 or 30 pounds, whatever it is, like all the specifications, you need to have everything in there. And then there's not any surprise. Cause in the beginning, I was just like, cleaning position, and people would come in and they're like, what am I going to do? Like, you're just going to be cleaning buildings. All right, let's get you hired. And you'd get them in there and they, you know, they don't like, oh, my knee kind of hurts or my back hurts. I can't be standing for that long. So I need to have, so to prevent a lot of those people that aren't going to fit that position, just having as specific as you can for what you're hiring for, and especially the pay. Like, just be super, super transparent with that. I still don't. Is that still a thing where they're just like between 50 and $800,000, depending
Yeah,
on
still a
experience? Like,
thing.
it's just like, is that still a thing? God, it's so stupid. I was like, you start at this, and it was I luckily this was a long time ago, so we started off at like $10 an hour, which at the time was still better than working McDonald's, probably not now. But and then during the interview, so they already knew what the pay was, but during the interview, I was like, hey, you start at 10, but here is the progress for making, getting raises and things like that. But yeah, you never want to have any like ambiguity with what they're going to be making. That's just, it's so weird. But yeah, so that's, sorry, I start rambling, but you want to have the very beginning, before you hire, your solicitation to hire people needs to be as specific as possible, so the right people are applying to begin with.
Yeah, and I would say, just adding to that, ensure that it's you're hiring someone to, like, fix a problem. You probably shouldn't be hiring your first hire, especially, probably shouldn't be some type of leadership. I just remember, there were not really it was an A5 client
Mhm.
for anyone who remembers A5. No one? Okay. So it was an A5 client, and I just remember, like, talking with the dude. He's just like, I just need like a foreman. I need like someone who's like gonna, like, his very first hire would be like, I want this person to come in and run the business. Like, so it sounds like you want a business partner,
That's
not an
right.
employee. And sure enough, when he was talking with the dude, he's like, yeah, so I can pay you $15 an hour. He's like, I would like to own part of this company. And then eventually, like, he did, like, that's what ended up happening. But I just remember laughing at that. We're just like, this is your business.
Right.
Yes, eventually you need to have leadership in place, but your first hire should not be, how do I not do any of this?
Anything. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
like,
You
I
you know
don't
what
think you exactly know what you're doing there, bud.
you know what I don't like about my business? Anything. So if someone else could run this, that would be fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be, yeah, it's the smaller things. Yeah, exactly. The entry,
What's
it's supposed to be an entry level position in the beginning. That's what it's supposed to be.
what would you say, like, when you were first hiring, like, if you had to choose one thing, like, this is what sucked about bad hires at the start?
Quitting, like turnover, that was the worst
Turnover?
part. Yeah, turnover was the worst
Yeah,
because
so, like, you spend a ton of time training people, and then it's just like,
yes.
"See ya."
And then all of a sudden they wouldn't show up anymore. And that had to do a lot with them not knowing exactly what they were going to be doing. And so yeah, it was just like this perpetual cycle of I would hire someone really quick, train them really quick. And by really quick, I'm like, I'd give them like a 30-minute rundown of the building and what they're supposed to do. Like, all right, you should be good. I mean, I learned very quickly that that was not working, but that was the worst part. The worst part was turnover because then you had to start all over again every single time, and it was super frustrating. So that was the worst part.
Do you think you could put money on, like, how much, like, money you lost
Oh,
on, like,
dude,
I'm sure that's a hard, like, number to, like, come
Wha-
up with, but
it's like thousands of dollars. Like if we're just talking about like time and things like that, oh, it's thousands of dollars. I don't want to say tens of thousands, maybe, but it was quickly learned that something needed to change. And that's the other thing too. If something's not working it doesn't have to be with hiring, if anything in your business, like figure out what's not working and fix it, you have to adapt to it. And so I quickly realized the way I was doing my hiring was not working. I needed to figure out something else. And then a lot of trial and error and figuring out from there. But yeah, just the turnovers is just a huge headache. It's a huge
yeah.
headache.
And I'd say there are 3 very common, the first hire that you go after type of thing, and I don't think I've been guilty of any of these, but one is, like, just hiring a friend or family member. We've already talked about that with the going into business with friends or family, because essentially just like, yeah, you've never worked, unless you've worked with this person in some capacity, and I don't mean like, "Oh, we did an Eagle Scout project together." For anyone who's like, an Eagle Scout project was Boy Scouts of America. No, just kidding. I have to explain that, like, what the hell are the Boy Scouts? It's people that you've actually worked with in a professional setting before, and
Sure,
you've seen their competency with it, or
sure.
they've, like you and I, like, where our competencies lie for, like, for specific things. Otherwise, you're just like, oh, it's somebody I know, and then
Or that you like. Someone
yeah,
just
or
that
they
you like,
or
right?
a friend, yeah.
Yes.
The second one is the cheap hire. So you're just like, I want to get as much out of this person as possible. The first hire that we made at Keystone, I probably paid too much, but it was totally worth it because she was awesome and she helped us grow to a point where I could start hiring more people. So the cheaper you go, and I think this is something you experienced, Aaron, with this, like what you have been saying is like you hire these people. Although no, you said you're paying like $10 an hour, which was good at the time that you were hiring people.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
I just see when you get the cheap hire, it's usually someone they show up and then they're like, "F this, this is not what I signed up for," and then it's like, or they suck because they're just
Yes.
like, I'm only getting paid this amount of money, so I'm going to do that amount of work. And then you end up having to go in and solve the problems they have created for you.
Well, you get what you pay for, right? Like the age old adage, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. And then the last one is clone hiring, which is essentially hiring someone that's exactly like you. You don't need someone exactly like you. You need someone to do what Aaron described, which is that specific list of things to execute. So don't hire someone that's like, oh, kid, like, so, like, and especially if you think about it, like, as an entrepreneur, like, I'm managing payroll. Like, do you need that person to manage payroll? No. All you need them to do is the specific things that you have put in the job description,
Yeah.
and they can grow from there, but that's what you need them to do. So don't hire yourself. Just create more problems.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Sorry, keep going.
I was gonna pivot to how to avoid making bad hires. So what obviously you standard operating procedures, it seemed like is
Yeah.
one thing that you guys started using. Like
Yeah.
what else would you do to like what were
Yeah.
like the tips and tricks for whoever's like, well, this is my first time hiring.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, the first tip was make sure you're very transparent in your solicitation. The second one is the interview itself. Have very, very specific questions that apply to that position. And not only the position, but kind of the atmosphere of your company. You don't want to hire someone that just is, I don't know, if it's like a fun, good time kind of place, that's the environment you want to have in your company. You don't want to have some, Debbie Downer that's just constantly complaining. There were so the big red flags for me when you're doing interviews, was if they showed up late, I wasn't hiring them. They were just immediately, I wasn't going to hire them. I might still do the interview, but I would not hire that person. The other one is if they are constantly talking bad about their previous employer, because you will eventually be that previous employer that they're going to be talking bad about. If they don't this wasn't like a red flag, but if they
Yellow flag.
didn't, like a yellow flag, if they had like zero questions the entire time, like they didn't want to know anything about your company or about exactly what they're going to be doing.
Or if the questions were like, so do I get percentage ownership in the company? So like what are my days off? What are
No,
like
dude, no. I had a guy during the interview ask me what his first bonus he could expect with his first bonus. Like, dude, you're cleaning toilets, homie. He was a college student, and I don't know if it was some like thing he saw online. It's like, be real bold in your interviews. He was a very confident guy. He's like, so, what kind of bonus am I looking at once, and how often do those happen? I was like, I'm not hiring this guy. But yeah, just like outlandish demands. I mean, that should be pretty obvious, but I would say the main one, if they don't show up on time, if they don't show up, at least like they don't have to be in a suit, but like if they're in like not dressed nice at all, that they cared enough to be presentable for the interview, that's probably not great either. I don't know. My biggest one was if they talk bad about their previous employer and that's all they wanted to talk about. Cause that's all I'd think the entire time was like, and this is what they're going to say about me when they go to their next hire. Um, so now the green flags. So the thing is like, you don't have to hire someone who already knows how to do everything. Like they're like, for me, like knows carpet clean, knows window clean, knows how to do janitor. I always wanted to hire people that were trainable, that were kind of
coachable?
humble, very coachable. Yes. And so people that could take advice, they could take constructive criticism and would learn from that type of things. Just people with the right attitude. If they just seem standoffish or they kind of gave me pushback, because I was never asking super hard questions. But if I just got a weird vibe from them, always trust your gut. If you get a weird vibe, I hired plenty of people. It's like, I don't know if I should hire this person. There's something weird. I still hired them, and then I regretted it later. There was not one time that I had a bad feeling about someone and it didn't turn out to be true. So trust your gut. But yeah, just you want to just hire people with just good attitudes, that are going to be non-toxic in a working environment. Something I would always ask myself, especially when I was hiring carpet cleaners, or window cleaners, anyone that was going to be in someone else's house. I always said, would I be comfortable with this person being in my house with, my kids home, or whatever. So it was just like my wife and kids at home by themselves. Would I be comfortable having this person in my house? If the answer was no, I wouldn't hire that person because I don't want to put them in somebody else's house. So
Other
that was
people
kind of
will
one of
feel
my
that way
things.
too.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. And so I was just like, yeah. So, a lot of that had to do, I mean, as bad as that sounds, like looks have a lot to, I'm not saying you have to hire models, but just like, again, it comes back to if you,
Presentability, look what you said.
exactly,
Yeah.
if you, put on a polo shirt, it doesn't have to be anything of whatever, but if you showed up in some dirty clothes and whatever, I'm like, all right, you don't really care about, you can't really actually care about this position. And you're probably not going to take care of the uniform I'm going to give you. And oh, dude, if they, just hygiene, here's another hygiene. If they smell terrible, they smell like, and this is might be bad, like if they smell
Cigarettes.
strongly of cigarette. Yes, exactly. Cigarettes. That's a no-go. Cause I don't want that a reflection on my company. It was called Honestly Clean. Hey, Honestly Clean, and it smells like an
The
ashtray
dirtiest
when this
person
guy, yeah,
ever.
when this guy comes into my house. So it's that those were my rules for were part of my like standard operating procedure when I was actually doing the interview. I was looking at all of these things, and once I had those, the turnover just went way down, and like again, to your first point, we were always doing interviews. So we could weed out a lot of those people that were bad, and we'd be doing interviews constantly. And sometimes there wasn't a position, but we're like, hey, I'd always say, because we always were like in negotiations with getting new buildings. And so I was like, hey, we don't have a building right now. We're in negotiations to get one. And when we get that, I will give you a call. And sometimes that was, the next day. Sometimes that was the next month, whenever it was. But at least I had that list of people that I could then contact. Like, hey, we got that position. Are you still available? Great. Let's get you in. Let's get you trained.
I
And
mean,
that helped a lot.
and in terms of finances too, like, and I don't know if you did this, but I know that I have done this where I'm like, and sometimes it's like okay taking a loss if it's going to allow you to grow. Because there've been a lot of times when going back to like just hiring when a fire comes up, and especially when people give 2 weeks notice. So
Mhm.
you have like 2 weeks notice means you have to eh, hire someone in 2
And
weeks, and normally that person's working somewhere else. They need to give 2 weeks notice. So it's just like, oh
mhm.
crap, how are we like going to cover this thing? Sometimes it's better just to have people in waiting. That's why like interns are like the best thing in the world because they're usually pretty low cost.
Mhm.
And but obviously with what you're doing, Aaron, there's not a whole like, hey, you want to come be an intern at
Yeah.
Honestly Clean? But that being said, the comparison I can make for like unsexy businesses is more along the lines of like, just take the little bit of a loss. If you see that you're growing and you're seeing like a trajectory where it's like, okay, like it's okay if you're losing a little bit of money. Like I bet you when I say lose, I don't mean you're not profitable. I just mean you're sacrificing a little bit more of that profit margin that you have been getting so that you can have a much larger profit margin when the time comes when that deal closes. So I'm not saying Aaron's idea is wrong necessarily. I'm just saying like don't be scared to be like, all right, I'm going to bring this person on at $20 an hour
Oh,
because they
dude.
are, especially if they're awesome. Like you don't want to lose those people.
There were people that I interviewed. I was like, we're fighting them hours. Like,
Yeah.
if we have to fire somebody, we could do that. I was like, but there were awesome interviews that I did. I was like, and I found them hours. Like, that's absolutely right. If you get an awesome hire, don't wait until there's time. And you know, uh, it might not be the amount of hours that they want. Like, hey, we can get you started now. It's only going to be 20 hours a week. As we grow, as we keep growing, we'll get you more and more hours. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There was definitely times that we would just hire the person and then figure out their hours because I didn't want to miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah, this is a nice thing about owning your own business too, is there were times I would find people who found this awesome, like, and she's having an amazing career. So, and honestly, it's like one of those things where it hurt me. So I was like, oh, it's so sad that you didn't work for us, but it worked out really, really well for her. So I'm happy for her. But essentially, we lost her on $10,000. So, um, the offer that we gave to her was 70,000. She's like, "I got an offer for 90, but I would love to work with you guys for 80." And we went to the person that was just like, "No." I'm just like, "You have no idea what you have just done." Like, this
Right.
person was like someone who was plug and play, knew one of the specialties that we struggled with a little, like struggled with a lot, and would be able to manage those accounts that we struggle with a lot and like save them. So boom,
Mhm.
not going to lose them, and then bring new business that will take off at the very start instead of having like a huge learning curve.
Right.
So being able to own your own company allows you to make those decisions. And once again, I hate doing this. That company has only seen a decrease in revenue since a lot of those decisions have been made. So
Right.
I always err on the side of having too many people, and there's like, oh, well, then you're gonna have to fire them. Like like, guess what? If we start
There's always the
losing
bottom
business,
10.
yeah, yeah, like
There's always
you're gonna be fine. Yeah, I agree.
there's always someone that's that can be replaced. Like, there's, as bad as that sounds, there's just always someone that's not pulling their weight or is causing you a bunch of headaches, but you keep them around because at least they're doing the job right now. And yeah, there's always somebody. So
Do you have any advice for like, so people have made the mistakes and hire, like how to recover?
like when you have
Like I've
you
made the mistake. Now what do I do?
start hiring correctly. That's, are you talking about like in the, like immediately that person got fired, what do you do next?
No, I just mean like I think it's like a bad hire. I think yeah, first thing is find someone new, replace that person, and start
Yes.
becoming, yeah, like
And the best thing you can do is learn from your mistakes. Like, learn, what did I miss on this hire, or what thing didn't I do from my standard operating procedure that I would normally do? I'm never gonna, deviate from that SOP ever again. Learning learning from the bad hires. That's the best thing that you can do. But yeah, you just have to go hire somebody else.
yeah. And there are a lot of good people out there. Like the one thing I've known from like interviewing, like I've interviewed, I'm sure this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's thousands of people because I've hired
Mhm.
hundreds of people. There are so many good people out there, and eventually this just becomes really, really easy. Like I was like, I need to talk to you for 5 minutes, and I will
Yes.
know if you're going to be good for us or not. So for anyone who is struggling out there, like any skill, it's just a you got like I'm not saying I get A players every single hire I get, but the quality that we have, like every bad hire I've had in like the last 8, 9 years has usually been coming from like an emotional place where I'm like, oh, I feel bad for this person, or oh, I know this person, like this person, their dad is friends with the CEO of this company, so maybe we should hire them just to make that dad happy, blah blah blah. When I'm just interviewing a person free of bias, that in 5 minutes you're going to be able to figure out like, yeah, I think you're going to be pretty good here.
Yeah, if you do it long enough, it's pretty easy. Like, towards the end, there was times when someone would walk in, I'm like, I don't even want to do this interview because I know I'm not going to hire this
Right.
person. But out of respect for their time, I still do the interview. It's obviously a lot shorter. But and there was the same thing that within, a few minutes of just chatting up with someone, like, I really like this person. They got a good attitude. They're coachable. They're hired. I don't need to keep doing that. And actually, there's been times during the interview, I was like, I don't need to do the interview anymore. Yeah, I really like you. When can you start?
Yeah.
It's just repetitions. It's a numbers game. That's all it really is. And it's a skill that you have to learn. And the only way you can do that is by doing it, is by doing interviews constantly.
It's the top 10.
All right, everyone. Gonna try a new. We're gonna try a new. I'll hand it over to Aaron. We're trying a new segment today called the Top 10.
This is going to be a fun segment. So we wanted to bring in a little bit of more levity to the podcast. And these top 10 subjects, they could have to do with business. They could not have to do with business. They're just going to be a fun time that you can play along. So Alex, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 10 guesses. You only get 10. And if you can get at least 5 of them, if you don't get at least 5 of the correct answers, we are going to give away to the first comment that says Alex sucks at guessing. Whoever comments that gets a free gets our course for free. So okay, here we go. So there's 10. You get 10 guesses, and these are the top 10 countries to visit in 2026 according.
You don't have to answer this question if like you think it's like giving it away, but my only thing is like, is this like of Americans interviewed, or is this like of the world interviewed?
This was through like several different like travel agencies. So
I'm gonna be careful. I think this is gonna be very American because like my first guess, I'm not gonna guess this would be the United States of America because I bet you there's a lot of, but I'm not gonna guess that. All right.
Right.
So
so it's probably very United States based, but it's all right. So to be 25, the top 10 not 25, top 10 countries that are the best to visit in 2026. This is according to Travel and Leisure, a bunch of different travel companies.
All right. So yeah, I just gonna take a safe one. God, I feel so stupid. France.
France, not on the list.
Bitch. Oh, I'm very nervous if that's Japan.
That, Alex, is number one.
Okay. But I have a bunch of friends who are like, yeah, that's like my number one place. And I'm like, why? So, no,
I love
like
anime.
the people of Japan, but like the number one. Anyways, I've got like the Japan Sea Moths. Awesome. Okay. All right. Where's that?
If you're listening, Josh,
French Polynesia or Bora Bora?
That is not on the list.
Damn it. Maybe it's because it's not Thailand.
That is number 7.
Oh my gosh. All right. Two. Okay. God, this is like more nerve-wracking than I anticipated.
The thing, okay, I'll give you a little bit of help. These aren't like, besides one of these are all pretty normal. Yeah.
I was just surprised by France.
Yeah, me too. So was I.
And it's countries. Brazil.
No, Brazil.
Bitch, dude. Son of Australia.
Australia is number 4, Alex. Number 4.
What
Good
the
day.
hell, man. So I'm 50-50 in it right now. Then I'm just gonna New Zealand.
New Zealand. Let's see. No, New Zealand's not on there.
What?
That's weird. Yeah, I would have guessed New Zealand too.
All right. Italy. Gonna go safe again.
Italy is number 2.
Italy. Okay, so I just need to get one more and I'm good.
How many more guesses do you have?
2.
I should know this.
Because one of them's crazy. Oh, wait, but I have like 5 that I can get right.
Yes.
Still.
There's only one that's just like, I was like, oh, really? That's interesting.
God. I don't know why I'm feeling this, but the Netherlands.
The Netherlands is not on there.
Everyone wants to get high and stuff. Don't people want to get high and such?
Isn't that Amsterdam?
Isn't Amsterdam in the Netherlands?
I'm not a geologist.
Amsterdam. Yeah, capital. It's the capital of Netherlands.
Okay.
That's what I was just like. Everyone always wants to go there. All right, one more guess. God, I feel so stupid guessing this. I feel like it's like what's crazy. All the ones I have been on the Eastern Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised. Like I feel like there's going to be like another. I already did Thailand.
I wonder. Oh, sorry. I'll let you talk this out.
I'm gonna just say something like Mexico to be safe.
Alex, that is number 3.
Yes.
Mexico.
Yes.
Good.
Screw all you. You don't get it for free.
Alex doesn't suck at guessing.
Woo! Not today.
All right,
dude.
so
what's the top 10?
All right, number
Jesus
1,
Christ.
Japan. Number 2, Italy. Number 3, Mexico. Number 4, Australia. Number 5, Canada.
Oh my God.
Okay. Number 6 is South Korea. Number 7 was Thailand. Number 8, Vietnam. Number 9, Spain.
Okay.
And number 10, Rwanda. I guess for like
The hotels.
yes, yeah, they're really great hotels there.
Yep, Hotel Rwanda, great hotel.
For like doing the safaris and things like that.
Oh, okay. I would have never guessed that.
Neither would I.
I was gonna say Morocco. I don't know if that's part of the continent of Africa, but like I just avoided it.
I would have allowed it.
Nervous.
I would have allowed it.
Morocco.
Yeah, the Bora Bora thing, I think it's because it's been played out. That's why I think everyone's like, oh, Bora Bora, that's not fun.
Well, what's crazy though is like Vietnam.
I want to go to Vietnam.
Oh, I've never had any.
It's a super. It's a pretty popular spot to go to.
I do kind of want to go to like. It's not on my list, but like the reason I want to go to Japan, like if Japan was a 6-hour flight, I'd be there. I'd be like, yep, sounds good. But it's more like the amount of travel. Like I think there's other places for that length of travel that I'd want to go first.
Yeah. Yeah. Kyoto's supposed to be amazing. Food's supposed to be amazing. I would also like to go to Japan, but if I was going to go to anywhere else on this list, it would, this is kind of a toss up because I really want to go to Spain and Italy. And I actually really want to go to Vietnam. That's right. I said Nam, not Nam.
That's actually kind of fun. So I've been to 2 of those places, Spain and Italy.
Yeah.
I guess Mexico, because you said Mexico's on the list.
Oh yeah. I guess I've been to Mexico too.
Interesting.
And Canada, Banff, go to Banff. Awesome place. But comment down below. I'd be interested to know where everyone's planning on traveling this 2026, this year. Yeah, that's my list is I would like to go to, actually, I don't know. I'm not going anywhere too fancy this year that I have plans for.
Nowhere out of country for me.
Yeah, I don't have anything out of country. I was kind of planning I really want to go to the Philippines because they have like amazing scuba diving there. But I don't know if I'm going to end up going or not. It's just,
after your European vacation, I'm like, yeah, you want to know what, like, not that you had a bad time, but like, you know, it's like taking a 3-year-old.
Oh, no, 4-year-old. This would not be with my family to go. Yeah, I would not do that because they would not enjoy just sitting on a boat while I'm scuba diving for several hours. But yeah, so I got my scuba certification after I went to all these awesome places for scuba diving, like, you know, Bora Bora, the Maldives, Thailand. And I regretted it ever since. And so now I have to do some backtracking. But
so just our apologies to all of the nations that nobody wants to go to. Sorry,
your nation,
all of South America.
Your nation was number 11. That's what it was.
Wait, yeah, all of our Russian and South American listeners out there.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Venezuela didn't just shoot to the top. That's top.
Yeah, it definitely should.
All right, well, we'll switch over to some listeners submitted business advice. All right, email 1, stuck at too small to hire, too busy. As always, send your comments or emails to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com or in the comment sections anywhere on social media. All right, here we go. I run a small residential window cleaning business. It's just me and one part-time helper during busy weeks. I'm doing about 12 to 15K a month. So, okay, 140, 180, but I'm maxed out physically and mentally. I know I probably need to hire, but I don't feel like I have enough margin to bring someone on full time. At the same time, I can't take on more work without help. How do you decide when it's actually safe to hire versus just pushing through a little longer? I'm worried I'll make the wrong move and set myself back. I feel like I already answered this in the initial podcast.
You're ready. You're like, as soon as you're starting to get burnt out and you're missing out on potential clients, like, what are you talking about? Like, are you going to pay this person like $50 an hour? Like,
right.
Dude, there's a guy, one of our competitors, all he does is hire high school kids. And so he gets them when they're like freshmen, he trains them. And then every summer for 4 years, he has them for the summer, which is usually the busiest time for window cleaners, especially in Idaho. And so just, you got to hire somebody, man. Like figure that out.
Yeah.
Even if it's a part-time person.
Yeah, and you already have a part-time helper right now. Just make that person
more hours,
not part-time anymore. Like give them more hours, and then I can't take on more work without help. Like you are losing out. Like this would be different if you aren't seeing any opportunities for like new business or anything like that, but you are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a pretty easy one. Like just start hiring. This goes back to the thing I said earlier in this podcast where it's just take a loss, like take a loss so that you can see exponential growth like later on.
And what Alex is talking about, like take a little less money. Like it's not like
For
you're
yourself.
Yes, exactly. Like you're still profitable. Because don't hire somebody if they're going to lose you money by hiring them. But
Yeah.
by lose, like where they're a net negative, don't hire that person. But this shouldn't be. Like hire someone, pay them $20 an hour, $25 an hour, or whatever it is, and price your window cleaning accordingly so that you make money. Yeah, dude, you're in the position that every entrepreneur wants to be in. They're too busy. That's the best problem to have.
You already have the part-time person. Like you already apparently have someone you trust. Like you don't even have to go through the difficulty of like finding someone. It's just here's more hours for you.
Unless that person doesn't want more hours. Like I get that, whatever. But still, you just hire another part-time person. There you go. You're welcome. Fire course.
Good luck. Hey guys, I own a small janitorial business with a handful of commercial accounts. On paper, we're profitable. In reality, I feel like I'm always waiting on money and constantly stressed about payroll, so they're not paying you. Clients pay net 30 or net 45. Okay, that's not crazy. But my employees and supplies don't wait. I've considered a line of credit. Don't do that. But I'm nervous about using debt just to float the business. Is this just normal growing pains, or does it mean my pricing or structure is wrong? I can't believe you're running that lean. Like at some point, you said that you're profitable on paper, but the reason that you're not profitable in real life is because people aren't paying you yet because they're net 30, net 45. There's something off there. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time in Keystone's history, like when we're growing, which it sounds like you are, in Keystone's history where it's been like, oh, we can't make payroll. Like, because there's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah, like you should, especially once those net 30, net 45 have paid, there should be a surplus, aka profit, that you should be able to start using towards the next payroll. So there's two things happening. You're either not charging enough for your services, or you are a very generous owner and you're paying too much for your employees. Like that's the only two things that I could really think of, unless the people just aren't paying you at all. You should be getting to a point where you're saving up enough money that this isn't an issue anymore. So I would take a look back at kind of all of your finances and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And then also your pricing.
Yeah. Don't take out a line of credit. I would more, you're either overstaffed or it's like something's happened. Like Aaron said, you're paying too much to people. Yeah. I just can't imagine, because you sound like we're profitable on paper.
But Alex, what does profitable mean? Like, are you making $100 a month? Like, how profitable are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that could be the main issues. Like, you're just not charging enough, or you're paying your employees too much. These are the types of things you need to kind of have figured out before you start hiring people, because then you can know what you need to be charging and what you can be paying your employees. But that's what I would do, because if you're profitable, but it's only $500 a month that you're making, you're going to be kind of screwed there. So start charging more, look at your finances. And we could be wrong. We don't know what your profitability actually is, like how much you're actually making, but you should be at a point where this isn't an issue. You have enough money set aside for payroll.
Yeah, maybe this is one of those, I need more information before I can give you advice, because you're either running this poorly or you're actually just so new with your company that it's so, in that case, yes, it is a growing pain. If your company is so new, it's just like don't worry, once those people pay their net 30, net 45, whatever it is, you'll have a surplus, and then you just are smart from there moving forward so it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening. You can submit your questions to unsexybusinessmen@gmail.com, and we will chat with you all next week. See everybody. Thank you for listening to the Unsexy Businessmen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Now go get to work.